Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jennifer's Lair. Tonight we're going to get into some ghost stories, and Mother Nature is helping for sure with her soundtrack. You may hear some thunder, you may see some lightning in this video, so thank you Mother Nature for that. The last time I think I did a ghost story video was with like the magazines, and then we got into topics like the orphanage and things like that, like ghost stories. Well, tonight I have kind of I did some research, and I would like to share with you one of the stories to give you more information on one of the stories I told about the ghosts. The Waseca Courthouse ghost. So I have information, I have done some research, and I will share like with you guys in this video, like where I got the information from and stuff. Some of it's going to come from Waseca County News, and you are going to see a cute little cat behind me because Charm's in here. She's going to be my co-host for this evening. Or maybe through this video, or maybe not. I don't know how long she'll stick around, but she's sitting on the other side, so Charm wanted to be in here, so she's in here with us. Tonight, or whatever, I may be talking a little bit softly. My husband's trying to sleep. He works all hours and never knows when he's going to get called, so I'm trying to talk a little softer tonight. But I'm excited to give you guys this information that I found about the ghost of Waseca County Courthouse. So, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to show you some pictures of the Waseca County Courthouse, so you guys see what it, what it looks like and things. Let me get those photos right now. And thank you, Mother Nature, for the thunder, because that's perfect right now. I'm so happy that I got all this information for you guys. I've been meaning to do this forever, and I finally got it done. The orphanage, though, the orphanage ghost stories, those are gonna I'm still working on it, because that's gonna be a bigger piece, I have a feeling, than this. So, but here's a photo of the courthouse. Now, I don't know where or when this was taken, because it shows when I printed this photo off, but it doesn't tell me when it was taken. But this is the Waseca County Courthouse. And this was taken, I think, close to fall, probably September maybe, because of the way that the trees look. There's still some green, but then there's like color to the leaves. It's such a beautiful courthouse, guys, isn't it? And I don't know if that tree is still there or not in front. There used to be like, let me see if I can see. If I can find the photo. Yep, here's a photo. There used to be 2 tall trees in the front. Well, you can kind of see it there. But there was like pine trees in the front of the courthouse. My dad used to have to climb with ladders. He was telling me this. And put Christmas lights on those trees. And my dad's scared of heights, so I don't know if they had like a bucket thing to lift them up or whatever. I just never paid attention to that. And they did, I believe, redo the roof, because it looks like it's the new kind of roof. It's not like the old kind of roof. But here's another picture of the Waseca County Courthouse. I think it's a beautiful building, and I love the tower. I love the way that the tower looks with the clocks. It's so cool. And so this picture might have been taken after the trees were removed, because I don't see the trees there. And there was trees on the sides. So I'm not 100% sure. You know, if you can see it. And then we also have one. It's kind of creepy. It's in black and white, and I thought this was just a neat picture that I got offline. It's really kind of cool, actually, the way it printed off and stuff like that. So now you kind of see what I'm talking about. And here's another photo. It's not the greatest photo, but here's another one of the Waseca County Courthouse. Okay, so now with these stories, you guys will get to actually see this place that I was talking about. So now that you've seen the photos, we're going to get into the stories. So Ralph, he was a man that worked there, and I'm going to read off some of these articles that I found the information from. That way, if I get it wrong, it's from the article, not from myself. I don't like giving out information unless I'm 100% sure on that information. I've done some digging. This is what the articles say, so we'll just like take it for what all it's worth, because I take it they've done their research. So I'm just gonna start reading this. Now this was from the Waseca County News, and I don't know if I have a date on when it was published or whatever, but I will read some of it to you, and then you guys will get to hear this part of the story. And if you guys didn't know already, my dad worked for the Waseca County Courthouse for years. And this was a story that I'm just going to tell you guys before I get into this, I guess. Because some of you guys probably didn't watch the Ghost Hang Out With Me video. If you haven't already, go and watch it, because there's going to be lots more ghost stories on things that I've experienced and seen and other experiences. Because I'm not going to share everything with this video, because this video is just going to be about the Waseca County Courthouse in Minnesota. So, but my dad used to work for the county courthouse for years. And one night, I was still in high school when this happened. The phone rang, and it was my dad, and he was kind of freaking out. He was scared. There was something not right in his voice. I knew something wasn't right with whatever situations he was going through. All of a sudden, like, he's freaking out. He's like, "Can you get your mom? Can you just get your mom?" And I was like, okay, just hang on, I'll get her. I went and got my mom, and then she got on the phone, and then she's like, "I gotta go pick up your dad." Now, back then, I don't think that they told us kids, because they didn't want us freaking out or, like, thinking things or whatever. But back in high school years, I was already starting to pick up on paranormal things. And I would never tell anyone, because I'm like, they're going to think that I'm crazy, because I believe in this stuff. Because I highly believed in a lot of different things. There was rumors about certain houses in certain towns that lived close by, and there was certain rumors about, other things. But I had no idea what my dad saw that night. My dad said by the elevator, he saw an outline of a man. And the man just kind of like walked towards him, and he said hi to him, but the man didn't even, seem like he didn't really want to talk to my dad. And it was by the elevator inside. Now, I had asked him, so if you guys didn't know on the ghost video, I left the elevator part out, because I didn't realize that it was by the elevator, but it was. My dad told me it was by the elevator. He also gave me some other stories last time when we visited, that he would clean the jury room, and when he was done, all the chairs in that room had, I think they had rollers on the bottoms. And he said that he would leave the room and then come back, and all of the chairs were like, turned around the opposite way. When he cleaned that place, they were pulled and pushed into all the tables. So that was kind of odd and really weird that happened. He also told me that there was other things that were happening, like There was a place where they had desks or whatever, and they were talking. And one time there was like a Kleenex box that kind of flew across and ended up on another desk. And then one of them ended up on the floor. Something ended up on the floor, he told me. There was things like that happening all the time in the county courthouse, the Waseca County Courthouse. Now, since then, keep in mind, my dad does not work there anymore. He, you know, retired and everything, so he's not working there anymore. But there was a lot of things going on in that courthouse that you cannot explain. And it would happen like a lot of times when everyone would leave and go home for the night. And some people would stay behind. And like the last couple years that my dad worked there, they had walkie-talkies because a woman had gotten stuck in the bathroom. Like she was going to the bathroom, the light turned off, and she got locked in the bathroom itself. So she couldn't even get out of the bathroom. The door just shut and locked. She couldn't get out of there. So at night, when people stayed behind, they have walkie-talkies so that they can keep in contact with each other. But you know what? This is why I think that's a bad idea. Because electronics and ghosts, on their energy, they can kind of mess with electrical things like cell phones, cameras, walkie-talkies. So the energy can kind of like be picked up, and then like it can be thrown around, and they can feed off of it, and they can drain the batteries of phones and cameras easily and things. So I really don't think that was a good solid plan, not unless they had backup stuff. But and I'm surprised that they don't get messed with so much, you know, like with the electronics, being that there's some entities in the county courthouse. Now, the one entity that we will get into talking about is, his name is Ralph. And he was a man that worked for the courthouse. He was like, I believe his dad, well, we'll get into that because I don't want to give you any false information, but he did work for the court. He worked in the courthouse, and something happened. We'll get into that at the end of the article. I'm going to kind of put in a little bit of food for thought, because it's kind of important, this particular thing that I'm going to tell you at the end of these articles, because I did find out more, but I wasn't able to find out as more into regards of the situation that I'm going to tell you at the end of this. So, but here I'm going to read some stuff that I did find online, and I Googled it, and it's from WasecaCountyNews.com. So if you want to look up the articles later or save them for yourself, you can go on WasecaCountyNews.com, and they will let you know, they'll give you or you can look up the articles and for yourself. But anyways, okay, so I'm going to start out reading this. It says a number of Waseca County employees claim to have run into the ghost of Ralph Garland, a former county deputy auditor who reportedly committed suicide in the author's vault in 1919. So in 1919, and it does have a little picture here, and it was by Waseca County News, and you really can't see much. This is the county courthouse, and you really can't see it very well. And yes, I have them numbered because I wanted to make sure that I didn't screw anything up and give you guys some wrong information. Okay, on to the reading now. Ralph Garland may be the most well-known man at the Waseca County Courthouse. Employees enjoy sharing stories about the times Garland pulled pranks on them and how he pops up at the building late at night after much of the staff has left for the evening. Okay. It'd be much more lighthearted if Garland hadn't killed himself in the county courthouse more than a century ago. Garland, the son of Nathaniel Garland, Waseca County's first sheriff, lived in Waseca area nearly his entire life. The younger Garland accepted the deputy county auditor job in 1908. For more than a decade, he was hard at work, taking on even more responsibility once the draft board was formed. Articles from the Waseca Herald at that time reported that close friends had noticed Garland's health had been failing, but when asked, he always made light of the subject. He's always, okay, hang on a second. I kind of, like, when I printed out, my printer kind of did some weird thing, so bear with me on this part, okay? Sorry. He even accepted a new position at the bank in January 23rd, 1919, which seemed to raise his spirits. On the morning of January 26, 1919, Garland left his home, telling his wife he was headed to the courthouse to work for a while on the city books. She became alarmed when he did not return home for dinner, and a search party was formed. His body was found hanging on the stairwell leading from the auditor's vault to the basement vault. Garland was buried 2 days later. His wife and 2 children later moved to Washington State, with his descendants staying on the West Coast. However, Garland's spirit seems to have never left the courthouse. And here's some little bits of stories and whatever with this article. All the employees know about him, current auditor treasurer Tammy Spooner said. I don't know if he exists or not, but if he does, I tell everyone that he hasn't harmed a single person. Haunted happenings. Deb Doberstein, secretary with the Waseca Veteran Service Office, has heard stories about Garland since she first started working for the county 38 years ago. He seems to be more active at certain points during the year than others, depending on who you ask. Some seasons have more activities than others, and we don't always know why. Whenever there's a remodeling, the sightings seem to happen a little more. We've had 2 different janitors, which one was my dad, who have since retired, that have seen a lot of different things. They smelled old cigar smoke late at night and heard old music from that time period. Doberstein said one of the janitors swore he saw Garland one night next to the downstairs elevators, which was my dad. And so startled that he called his wife to pick him up. That was the phone call, guys. That was the phone call I was telling you about. That was my dad. It's interesting. I want to get back to, we're going to stop reading here because I've got some information. Now, on all of the ghost stories that I have recently watched, like, you know, all of the stuff, there's always been some kind of disturbance. Whenever there's a disturbance of, like, renovating stuff and things like that, of course, it's going to stir them up. So, like, the renovations is true in this particular case. I'm not saying all cases, but a lot of the cases that I do watch on television, like, they talk about a lot about the renovations and how it stirs up the spirits. Now, this doesn't have to do with this particular story, but there is a place in town here. I don't live in Waseca anymore, you guys know this, but there is a place that they are remodeling that used to be a hospital, and then it turned into a jail, and there was many deaths and births there. There was a lot of, you know, surgeries and traumatic experiences there. And so, well, anyways, they are turning this into what was the jail, because the jail closed. They because it used to be the hospital, they didn't do any remodeling except for maybe put some bars in and things like that for cells, because they had people that were in jail in this, you know, place after the hospital closed. So then they had that for a number of years, and then now they're turning it into an apartment building. Big mistake. That's all I'm going to say. There's been known hauntings there already from when there's rumors. And I don't think that they're just rumors. I think that they're true. And people are all hush-hush about it right now here because they want people to rent these apartments. Well, you know what? Those apartments are going to be haunted. And I'm surprised that we're not hearing any of the workers because they're taking out jail cells. They're taking them out because they're doing apartments. And I have a feeling that these things are going to be extremely haunted because I looked up the article, and at the end of the article there was a bunch of people saying, you know, their stories about the hauntings, about the jail and about the hospital. But now there's none left. So I'm just thinking, is the town trying to erase that? See, I'm sorry, but it's like you can't erase that stuff. And as soon as people start living there, which anybody who would want to live there, I don't know, they're crazy. Like, if you want a haunted apartment, come live there. So I guarantee there's going to be a lot of energy there. We're going to start hearing stories, and you can't unhear stories. So I don't know how well they're going to rent these things out. But if people, you know, keep going in and out of there all the time, like people keep moving out, people are going to know something's up. And a lot of people around here, they already know the truth anyways, that the place is haunted. And just because you remodel it and put a little bit of, you know, work and effort into it doesn't mean that those ghosts are going to go away, because they're going to stay. And I'm so surprised and shocked that they're keeping the building as is. They replaced windows that are like bulletproof windows because it was a jail at one point in time. They're replacing the windows with just regular glass. But at the same time, and they're just taking, like they just took like, you know, the bars to the cells off. And, you know, they're doing all of the stuff. They moved asbestos, sorry. They moved that out. But they are really doing a number. I just have a bad feeling that people who live in there, they're not going to live in there very long. And there's going to be rumors going around. So, I mean, to just like try to mask it and try to cut people off, because there was paranormal investigators supposed to go in that building, and they said due to insurance purposes, they weren't able to go and tour the building. And so I just feel like they just didn't want those paranormal people there, because they didn't want them to, you know, because people are going to ask, and that's going to be public information. So to me, I just feel like something's up. You know, they wanted to mask that and not, you know, so people will rent the apartments without questions. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of people in and out of that place. Just saying. Anyways, maybe I should have shared that in another video, but let's get back to this now. But like I said, the renovations will, you know, kick up the spirits and stuff. You are going to notice a lot more moving around. You're going to notice the energies changing in there, because when you do renovations, you're changing their environment and their situation, and a lot of those changes are not really that welcomed. You know what I mean? Also, they said that around Halloween time, they do see him out more. And you know what? During that time, there's a real thin line of, you know, when the spirits come out. A lot of spirits are going to be more active during that time because the line is so thin. And for their energy can, you know, expand during that time. So just so people know, I believe in this stuff. I would be a fool not to, because there's been so much that I've seen and heard about, and then I watch the stuff on TV. And yeah, maybe not everything that you see and read and watch on TV, But I like those paranormal shows. Like, I'm all about them. So, and if I could be a paranormal investigator, I so would. But the problem with me is I feel like these entities would attach themselves and follow me home. And I don't want that. I don't want that because I'm a very sensitive person to this stuff. So I feel like they would try and just grab onto me because I have a very pure, innocent soul kind of thing. And people may laugh at that, but it's true. And that's what they tend to attach themselves to. So yeah. Anyways, let's get back to reading this. Patty Mansberg, I might have butchered the name, sorry, okay, of the Waseca County Abstract Office had her encounter with Garland about 20 years ago. Late one afternoon, her brother Ray Summers and third employee were walking in the county recorder's back vault. The trio was sitting on different sides of 3 desks pushed together to form a triangle. I forgot exactly what it was, but Ray said something unflattering about Ralph. All of a sudden, there was a popping noise and a Kleenex box flew halfway across the room and landed by the door. We were just talking about Garland as a joke, but after that, we learned not to discuss the ghosts. Many were convinced that Garland's ghost was real when his signature was found in spring 2010, while employees were rearranging the auditor's office. When an old desk was pulled away from a wall, 2 fishing licenses popped out. Garland had signed those licenses 1 year before his death. Everyone was surprised to see them. They were signed in 1917. Spooner said, "We gave them to the Waseca County Historical Society. They were incredibly brittle and fragile. Paranormal investigations. Here we go with this. Because they did have some come into the Waseca County Courthouse to do some investigations because they were having a lot of activity in there. So they were trying to figure out, like, what was going on and if they could talk to, to see what was going on. Maybe to even help the people pass over that were there. So let's get into what they found. About 5 years ago, paranormal investigators were brought in to examine the courthouse. The investigators took pictures, some of which show faint auroras of light beaming in an otherwise empty room. Audio recordings also were taken, which Spooner has saved on her computer. Voices were picked up on the recording devices, some more audible than others. In one tape, the phrase, "Hello, Linda," can be heard quite clearly through. Spooner said there wasn't anyone in the room named Linda in the room at that time. So why does Garland feel the need to stick around the courthouse? Daberstein and some other staff members are skeptical about the way he died. Some of us don't believe it was suicide, Daberstein said. Back in the day, county officials were very well known. Ralph was just about to take a new job before he died. Maybe he found something wrong with the books that he wasn't meant to find. But there's nobody to dig into that, though. Some think it's kind of fishy. Daberstein added that Garland wasn't the first in his family to suffer a strange death. Garland's father, the former sheriff, was found dead in 1880 in Clear Lake. He drowned in less than 5 feet of water. Employees also believe that Garland is not the only ghost in the county courthouse. For many years, Daberstein believed a second spirit existed, through that rumor has died down recently. However, more and more people have reported hearing from the lady and her kids. We don't know much about the lady. Oh, I'm getting chills right now. So Oh, my hair's standing up. My hair's standing up. I am getting goosebumps because, whoo, oh my God. I am really getting goosebumps, guys, right now. Okay. Employees also believe that Garland is not... Okay, wait. Hearing from the lady and her kids. I'm getting goosebumps again just reading that because my hair's... I feel like my hair is standing on end. We don't know much about the lady, but janitors have seen strange things up to the jury room. Lights left on and chairs stacked oddly, Duberston said. Some have heard little girls' laughter, but they couldn't find a little girl anywhere. The auditor's office has drawn dedicated to Garland, containing old newspaper articles about his death and funeral, copies of fishing licenses found with his signatures, and the pictures taken by the investigators. The ghost fever comes and goes, usually popping back up around Halloween. Yep, it's going to happen because there's a thin line between the living and the dead that time. If you guys go back to the history of Halloween, you'll find out that the line is very thin during that time, and that so that does not surprise me any, that ghosts become more active on Halloween, and it is true. That's one of the reasons why people would, you know, dress up and stuff like that, is to kind of scare the spirits and things like that. But we'll get more into the history of Halloween because I want to do a video on that. So I'm not going to give you too much information on that. Anytime something okay, so popping back up around Halloween. Anytime something unusual happens, whether it's a misplaced file or a door slamming shut, employees jokingly blame Garland. Beliefs vary from person to person, but almost all of them know who Ralph Garland is after a few months on the job. Mintzberg, who interviewed former county employees about the history of the county courthouse years ago, said the ghost stories go back generations. I've known some people who've been here 30 years and had a couple of odd things happen to them, and others who have been here decades and nothing happened to them, Masberg said. It's one of those things people believe in. The ghosts never really, or whenever something happens to them, and there doesn't seem to be an explanation. And so that's the end of the article. Now, it doesn't surprise me. And when they said that they really weren't sure that it was a suicide, and that Garland found some things that was in the books, possibly he had information on something that was not right in the books. You know what? I kind of believe that might be true. And I wish that there was a way to dig into that to see if it was an actual murder instead of suicide. Because you know what? Ghosts don't stick around. Like, spirits don't stick around just because there was something that traumatic happened. Now, why would he commit suicide? And why would he tell his wife that he would be home for dinner? You know, he had a new job going for him. He was going to work at the bank. All of a sudden, this man commits suicide out of nowhere. I mean, that just, like, doesn't add up. Something fishy has happened. And I believe that somebody murdered him. And his dad was found dead within, you know, that small amount of water in 1880. Or was it 1980? I'm sorry. 1880, I was right. In Clear Lake. That something's not right there. So it's something, you know, it's a food for thought. Did this man commit suicide, or was he murdered for information that he had on the books? That is the question. All we know is his spirit is in the Waseca County Courthouse to this day, and we have no clue on why. All I know from all of the experiences that I've read about and seen on TV and stuff like that It happens when there's a traumatic experience. Sometimes the soul, the spirit, doesn't want to move on because he's got unfinished business. Is it his unfinished business to be actually put to rest, to actually find out if he was murdered or not? Will we ever know in our lifetime? These are questions that need to be answered. And I'm hoping that some way, somehow, someone will dig into that. Because I feel Ralph needs peace. His soul, his spirit needs to be put at rest. So he can be with his wife. And so that, you know, he can rest in peace. Because everybody deserves that at the end of this life. So now that's got me a little bit choked up. Okay, so I did some more digging, guys. This isn't all, those are the stories. But I did some digging. And I came up with, I wanted to know exactly where Ralph was buried. Because they said that he was buried 2 days after he had passed away. And so I did find something. And it does show where he's buried. Now, you guys, if you guys are going to go out to this grave, don't disrespect it, please. Be respectful. That's one thing I will ask of people. If you go out to the graveyards, do not be disrespectful of those people. Because they're laid there at rest. And just be respectful. Would you want someone to, you know, do something to your grave? So please, just be nice to him. It's not his fault. He, you know, I don't think the man committed suicide. I really don't. I think he was murdered. I think he had something on it, on something. Someone found out about it. And there we go. And he had to pay for it with his life. So please be respectful of Ralph, because I'm sure he doesn't mean anyone any harm. But with that being said, I'm going to show you where he's buried. This is his tombstone. And it says that he is buried in the first edition, section 4, lot 8. So here it is. I've done some research. And his birthday was April 16th, 1869. He died January 26, 1919. So there's his name. And he's by his father in the graveyard. So you will also see his father there. Please be nice. Please. Be respectful of the dead, please. I'm going to read a little bit about him. It says, birthday April 16th, 1869. Wilton, Waseca County, Minnesota, USA. His death was January 26, 1919. His age was 49. Waseca County, Minnesota, USA. And his burial is at Woodville Cemetery, Waseca, Minnesota. The plot is first edition, section 4, lot 8. And his memorial ID is 105503859. So I got this too. Please be respectful. I'm going to tell that again. Please be respectful. And here's another picture of his grave that I got offline. And here's another little thing I'm going to read to you guys. This date was printed, or this was from Blooming Prairie Times. Publishing date was January 30th, 1919. It says, Waseca Ralph Garland, City Treasurer and Deputy Auditor, committed suicide yesterday by hanging. His body was discovered suspended in the vault of the auditor's office. No cause other than possibly failing health can be ascribed for his act. His accounts are all straight. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. So he did have 2 children. And, of course, his wife. And here's the clipping of that. I was able to find out some things about him. He deserves to be respected, even though he's, you know, playing tricks and doing things at the Waseca County Courthouse. Please just respect him. If you're going to go out, respect him, please. That's all I'm going to ask. Respect his gravesite. Think about what you would want done to you if, you know, if it was the other way around. So please just respect him. And there's other things that I've seen. There's other things, like other articles that I've actually read and stuff about it. But I think that one's probably the better article, because I do have some here that I wrote. I mean, there is some things that was, I guess, apparently the investigators, when they were there, they also heard a little girl laughing. They caught it on an EVP, which is, you know, a recording of a voice. She was laughing, and I also have heard that there was a little girl talking and stuff like that. They don't know much about the family, and maybe I need to dig a little bit into that, because I'm kind of curious now about the little girls, like the kids and the mother, I would think. That's just kind of weird. I mean, was there, you know, before the county courthouse, was there like some kids there, or is it Ralph's wife? Is it Ralph's wife and his kids? I mean, we really don't know. So I may do some digging in the history, you know, archives of this, because I'm kind of curious now to see more information on that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm gonna try and dig into that. I'm surprised that I was able to get as much information as I have on Ralph and his dad. And so, yeah, I mean, that could be his family there. You know, they could have wanted to join him because, you know, the experience, because they did move away to Washington. So, I mean, maybe they missed their dad. Maybe their dad said, hey, I'm here. You know, maybe they all just went to be with him. And since he had 2 kids, we don't know about the kids or the wife. So I might have to look into more of that story and see exactly, like, you know, those types of, because now I'm curious. I'm really curious. So I may have to do some things here. So I am excited about this, guys. I love doing the research. So as long as I love doing the research, I'm going to bring you guys some stories. But I want to make sure I have facts on the stories that I do. So I will be reading them to you so that I don't mess anything up, because it's important to tell the people's stories and make sure you get all the information correct. Because you don't want to tell a story about someone's life that's, you know what I mean? Like, that you cannot remember 100%, you know. And so I trust the Waseca County News to do their thing. And, you know, but I did, like, you know, this is an actual clipping of, you know, something that I did find. It was online, but it was, you know, part of the paper. And I kind of can't wait to see if I can find more information for you guys and maybe do an add-on video, because if people are digging around and seeing if Ralph actually did commit suicide or was he murdered, I mean, that's something I would like to know. I would like to know if somebody is digging around on that and trying to find out facts to see if he was murdered or not and who would murder him. They may never find out. That's the sad part about this. And the bottom line is, I would love to see his soul at rest. Because right now, he's completely not at rest. He's out walking around and, you know, pulling pranks and things, and maybe he loved it there. Maybe that's why he's still there, but maybe there's a lot of unfinished business. These are things that we're not going to know until we dig further into the information, and to see if we can find some stuff, like find proof that, you know, he was murdered, you know, or did he really commit suicide? I mean, his wife was expecting him home for dinner and prepared a search party because she was so worried about him. So, I mean, and why would he just tell his wife he was going to be home? It's strange. Something's just definitely not right. And plus, he had a new job he was going to go to, you know, a new job at a bank. I mean, he must have loved to do math and numbers and work with money. I mean, why would he throw that away? So there are things, guys, that we may not get answers to, but I'm going to try to, you know, if there's anything that comes up, I will do another video on it if I can. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, the ghost ones. I'm going to be doing more hauls in the future. There's going to be more spooky hauls, because I do spooky hauls all year round, but sometimes I just don't record them, but I should record them because I'm buying spooky stuff all the time. Witchy and spooky stuff. So continue to watch my channel, guys. And if you haven't already and want to subscribe to my channel, you like spooky things and gothic things and witchy things and Halloween, well, stay tuned to this channel and make sure that you become one of our spooky family members. We would just love to have you on this channel. I love hearing from you guys. So if you guys want to leave comments, go ahead and leave comments, because I love hearing from you guys and everything. And I hope you guys are staying spooky, staying safe, staying spooktacular, and being you and staying safe. And I hope everyone is doing awesome. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell for notifications on my newest videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Stay spooky. Bye.